Hi Tribe, I'm Evelyn, and this is Demon Dialogues, the place on Objectively Typed where we talk about everybody's favorite subject, your demons. Or my demons, specifically. So I'm continuing the series where I'm kind of going through my own demons. So my type in Objective Personality is double masculine, NETE, play, consume, blast, sleep. So I'm kind of walking through my demons. I talked about demon sleep. I talked about having masculine, demon introverted sensing. And this week, I want to talk about having demon feminine FI. So my type is unusual in that, like, I don't fit in the Myers-Briggs system, like, really at all. I am, like, so from a cognitive function standpoint, I have the cognitive function stack of an ENFP. So my cognitive functions are NEFITESI in that order. NEFITESI, right? And so that's an ENFP, according to the cognitive functions. However, I am what's called a jumper. So Objective Personality has found, Dave and Shannon have found that about 50% of the ENFPs out there jump their second function and go straight to the third. Now, in the more like Myers-Briggs standard community, that's sometimes called like a looping effect, where it's like unhealthy for you to skip your auxiliary function and go straight to your tertiary, you know, and so forth. But in Objective Personality, it's just one of the types. Like it's just a thing. It's no big deal. You know, like Dave is a jumper, Shannon's a jumper, I'm a jumper. And so what that means is that even though my second function is introverted feeling, it's actually a demon for me, which is really a little bit weird. And this is why, like, from a personality standpoint, I really don't relate to a lot of the things you hear about ENFPs. And also, to meet me, most people wouldn't guess I'm an ENFP. Like, I never ever tested as an ENFP prior to Objective Personality. Like, nobody ever would have said, like, oh, she's an ENFP, you know? And there's a few reasons for that. I think also my modality gets into it a little bit. But there's, you know, I just want to kind of set that up so that you understand, like, when I'm talking about having demon FI, it's important to keep in mind that my FI, introverted feeling, is actually my second function. So even though it's a demon, it is my auxiliary function. It is my, like, co-pilot. Typically would be my co-pilot, right? In a normal situation. So instead of being a normal ENFP, I'm a jumper. So my saviors are NE and TE. So me personally, I like to say I'm an NTEP. Or maybe even if I was talking to just somebody on the street, like let's just say I was at work and somebody said, like, what's your Myers-Briggs type? If I could hold myself back from going into this whole big tear, I'd probably just say I'm an ENTP, but really that's not right because I don't have the functions of an ENTP. So if anybody knows anything about cognitive functions, I'm not that, because ENTPs have TI and FE, which I do not have. But I relate to, like, the Kiersey temperament of NT, and I definitely am an EP, you know, I'm definitely an ENP, you know, all things like that. So anyways, let's talk about demon introverted feeling. Like, first of all, what does that mean? So what it first of all means, so the reason why I got typed that way is because I am tribe above self, which means that my saviors, from a 4 human needs perspective. So in OPS, in Objective Personality System, we talk a lot about the 4 human needs. And the 4 human needs are, self, tribe, gather, and organize. Okay? And you're going to have 2 of those things as your saviors, and 2 of them are going to be your demons. Now, what does that mean to be a savior or demon? It essentially just means that, like, and a lot of this is covered in our podcast, but I'm kind of just doing a quick recap in this one, because my FI is a little bit weird in that respect. So saviors are just, it's like things you do naturally, things that you feel obligated to do. You know, like the strict definition is like, I'm responsible for this, so I spend my time on it. I can work through my struggle. The growth mindset tends to be in our saviors. Also, we do our saviors naturally. Like, we're not even thinking about it. They're automatic. I like to think of it as a hand preference. Like, our saviors are our dominant hand. So, like, in my case, I'm right-handed. So my savior is my right hand. Whereas, like, my demons are more like using my left hand. Like, they're a little bit awkward. I can do it, but it's, like, harder. So when it comes to my deciders, my self versus tribe human need, I'm tribe above self, which means I naturally and in a sort of like savior state tend to defer to the tribe above what I would want. So I check the outside world before I check my internal decider. I check my extroverted decider first. So this gives me what is kind of, well, it's a sub temperament, right? So my EP, so my other human need, my top human need is to gather, not organize. I don't want to narrow down. I want to gather. I want to open up new ideas, especially because mine's extroverted intuition. It's intuition, which is all about like imagination and abstract thought. So I'm all like new ideas, bring in new ideas, right? And then I narrow down the sensory. My human need for control is attached to my sensory, which we talked about last time. Kind of in a similar fashion, my human need for tribe is extroverted thinking, which is all about like reasons, but on a spectrum. So a whole bunch of, like, I can see a whole bunch of reasons and I can bang the blocks together. And, you know, that's kind of like naturally what my temperament wants to do. NT is all about like puzzle figuring stuff out. And I have TE as a savior. So I'm like extrovertedly like getting ideas from the tribe, constantly pinging off the tribe. So yeah, my primary temperament is EP, and then my secondary temperament is the EJ. So, you know, the ENTJs, ESTJ, ENFJ, and ENFJ. I think I named them all. Well, whatever. The EJs, right? I'm like an EP EJ. And so like, yeah, prior to OPS, I sometimes tested like on 16 personalities and stuff as an EJ. And it comes through really strong because my TE, which is my savior, is masculine. So it's an extroverted masculine function. It's a really strong function, masculine TE. That's like a whole nother thing. And you can check out our other videos on Objectively Typed on this channel about having masculine TE as a woman. But that's not the purpose of this. The purpose of this is the other side of masculine TE. So if you have masculine TE as a savior, you're going to have feminine FI as a demon. Like, that's just the way the coin works. That's like the lucky you. You get this really powerful, you know, extroverted thinking function. It's masculine, it's punchy. But the flip side of that is going to be this feminine introverted decider, feminine FI specifically, because TE and FI are on an axis together. Just like FE and TI are on an axis together. I happen to be on the TE-FI axis. So my demon is feminine introverted feeling. So, and it's interesting because it's my second function. So it's still like powerful. We're still trying to understand like what that means for the jumpers. Like, I feel like I still have really good access to my FI. And because my FI is feminine, it does tend to move. It's very movable. Like, I will be completely committed to something one day and then it changes on me, right? It's like a river. And that is like part of the struggle when it's a demon, because there are times when like I don't have great access to it. Because again, it's like my non-dominant hand. And so I tend to ping out to the tribe before I ping myself. But then when I do finally ping myself, it's like in a different place from where I left it. Like, it's like, okay, my FI wants this. Let's go out and ping the tribe. We're pinging, we're pinging, we're pinging. You come back and wait, the FI moved. Like, oh shit, now my FI's over here. Like, now my FI wants to do this. And like, that's kind of part of the struggle of having feminine FI, is it is movable. Especially, I'm sorry, feminine FI. Well, I think feminine FI in general, like, you know, I've talked to Versavia. We've talked about this probably on the podcast too, of like, she's got savior feminine FI, and she has some of these same kind of struggles with her feminine FI, because like, especially the masculine TE is like a monster trying to protect this little feminine FI. The feminine FI is vulnerable. Your feminine functions are going to be movable, more vulnerable. And that's kind of what we talk about in terms of the feminine and the masculine energies, is which one is kind of more direct, more, you know, immovable, more static, and which one is more movable, more vulnerable, especially when we talk about the deciders, right? I kind of feel like, because my NE is feminine, quick side note, I kind of feel like the observers work a little bit different with the feminine and masculine. Like, my NE doesn't feel vulnerable in the same way that my FI does. And I think it's because it's deeply personal. When you talk about an introverted decider, I think an introverted decider is already deeply personal. It's already kind of sensitive because it's your thing. It's your introverted decider. And in my case, it's my FI, which is like what I value, what is, personal to me, like my personal values as opposed to the tribe's values. Another thing about feminine FI, and this is almost like, I think this is true whether it's a savior or a demon, is that because, like, especially it helps if you contrast it with FE. My experience with, my FE friends and so forth, and like my husband has FE in his stack, even though for him it's a demon, but still it's like, when he talks about like feelings and things, like, so FE, introverted feeling, is not strictly about feelings. It's kind of more about value, but feelings kind of get into it a little bit, your feeling functions, emotions, I mean. And like, it feels like the way I've said this before is it feels like for extroverted functions, extroverted feeling, let's say, for example, you have like a hand of cards, like a hand of variety of cards of a bunch of different feelings that you can kind of select from. And so like, even though one of them kind of feels like the right one, at the end of the day, it's like, how can I select the right card, especially if you're a FE savior, for the tribe? Like, how can I select the thing that will make the tribe happy? One of the things we say about savior FE is like, if the tribe's happy, then it works. Where savior TE is, if it works, then we can be happy. So the feelings are secondary. And so with the extroverted feeling, they have like options, it feels like. Whereas introverted feeling, I don't have options. It's like I got one card in my hand. It's like, this is my one, maybe two, right? It's like, got my two cards. Like, this is it. This is all I got. And then like, you're like, I'm going to play this one. And if the tribe doesn't like that one, it's just like devastating for the demon FI person. Like, it just wipes us out because that's like our one little introverted feeling, and we gave it to the tribe, and the tribe was like, pfft. And I think because like, for those of us that are tribe above self, because we're almost kind of like, I want to say accustomed to that, we just defer to the tribe so much that our demon introverted decider becomes devalued over time. And so we are like more than willing to do things for the tribe that we would never do for ourselves. Like, we will sacrifice for the tribe. We will give time and energy to the tribe and not take that same, we won't see the value. It's really an interesting, like, very interesting thing. And part of the reason I love OPS is like, I get to have words for this phenomena that I have seen play out in my life, which is like, I don't want to, you like that same priority that I'm putting on the outside, that I'm saying like, oh, that's important, I'm obligated to that. Why don't I do that for myself? Demon introverted decider. In my case, demon FI. So yeah, so that's kind of a description of demon FI. Like, so what can you do with demon FI? Like, especially feminine demon FI. Like, we've been doing a lot of talking in the groups, and there was a recent Q&A in the classes on this. So, some of the stuff we talk about in the classes too, of like, how do you toughen up your demon, especially if you got an introverted decider that is feminine? How do you toughen it up or strengthen it? This is still kind of a voyage of discovery, to be honest with you. For me, I personally kind of ascribe to the idea of being gentle with your demon introverted decider, giving it space, giving it room. So like, in my case, like, letting my FI do its thing for a while, like, and I think that's what can be hard, because you have to sort of push against the tribe and say like, I'm going to say no to the tribe for some period of time to let my FI settle and figure out what it wants to do. And I think it's like, my natural sort of like tendency, I'll say, is to not do that. My natural tendency is to just defer to the tribe, right? I think, now I happen to be a double decider, so I think that one of the great benefits of the double decider is we're a little bit more in touch with our demon decider. So like, I feel like I'm a little bit more in touch with my FI. And so for me, like, when we talk about like tidal waves, like, have I had, TESI decider tidal waves? Like, yeah, I have. They aren't like the biggest tidal waves in my life. They aren't like the big bad, But I have had it where it's like, especially for me, a lot of times it's in like the hobby space. Like I join a club, let's say. I join a club because my FI on board with that club. Like I'm there. And then for whatever reason, it could be a lot of reasons, my FI is no longer wanting to be there, right? My husband, who has savior introverted decider, he's just like, and I'm out. I'm going to go do something else. He's like, no problem with this. Me, it's like it's like a little like 3 to 5 day experience of like, shoot, I can tell my introverted feeling doesn't want to do this anymore. I can tell I don't value it anymore. I can tell I want to move from this, but I feel bad to the tribe. Like it doesn't matter who the tribe is, doesn't matter what they've done for me or not. If they've done things for me, it's even worse because then I feel like super obligated. Like, but they helped me in a hard time. I don't want to leave. You know, this is how it comes up for me in my life. So I'm just telling this as a story example. But it's like, I don't want to quit this thing because the tribe, I need to be there for the tribe, you know, and it's guilt. I'm going through a thing like this right now, in one of these groups that I'm in where I've decided to leave. And like, I know that that's what my FI wants. Like, I know my FI no longer values that thing and I'm ready to leave. And so like just today I actually left, but it was a whole, like, you can talk to my husband, like it was a whole thing. And my friends, like I had to like go through this like period of time of feeling bad about it. And I think like based on what I've heard Dave and Shannon say, I don't think that's ever really going to go away. I think that because of my EJ sub-temperament, there's going to be like these EJ-isms. And one of the EJ-isms is feeling that obligation to the tribe. And I think what works for me is to just recognize you're going to have that and just kind of wade through it and know that you're going to be better off in the long run. And that's what I've been telling myself. Like, I know that like 2 weeks from now when I'm out of that group, I'm going to be happy. Like, I know it will make me happier to not be there. And so I just have to like trust in that and trust in all the past times that this has come up because it has been a recurring pattern over time. In my case, I think because I'm an EP with a side order of EJ, it tends to be like hobbies or groups or like, I'll say little things in my life, like not like major life-changing things. But from talking to EJs with this, it sounds like for them, it could be like they look up one day and they're like, oh my God, I'm in a career that I never wanted. What do I do? You know, like theirs is like a lifestyle change. Theirs is like a marriage or a huge decision where their FI, they were so disconnected from their FI and they were doing what the tribe wanted. And then suddenly they look up and they're like, oh my God, my FI is not on board with this. So that sounds really scary. And so to my EJ friends out there, know that I get it. And that I think it's natural. Like, we are tribe above self. We're gonna feel that way. And that's okay. That's okay. That's part of what it means to be tribe above self. To go through that kind of thing. So yeah. So I mean, here we are. I was joking with somebody that like I can play energy for about 20 minutes or I guess blast for 20 minutes because I'm telling you known information. Cause yeah, we're about at 1830-ish. So yeah, I'd love to hear from anybody else with Demon FI, or Demon TI too. Like in general, a Demon introverted decider. Like, what's that like for you? You know, how do you deal with it? Going forward with this series, I've been really fortunate over the last 3 weeks that Fridays have just been available. So I've been able to post every week. This isn't normal for my lifestyle. So just know that like, I'll post these as I can. I still want to do, so I've done my, if you look at my demons, I've done my demon sleep, I've done my demon masculine SI, I've done my demon feminine FI, and I want to do demon blast at least next. Because even though blast is third, so it's my activated animal, it's still a demon. Still a demon. So that'll probably be the next one. So anyway, love to hear from you guys, see what you have to say. Otherwise, I'll see you on the next one. Bye.